Hi guys, happy Homebrew Wednesday for March 4th, 2015. Okay, so as promised, we're going to crack open another one of the virgin ales and give it a second taste test. So without further ado, sounded like about the same amount of hiss. We'll go ahead and pour that up. About a finger and a half head on there. Looks to be maybe a little bit more carbonated. A little bit of chill haze there. I went to go get a flashlight so you guys can see that a little better. It does have a little bit of chill haze to it. As you can see, the head retention's dissipated down. I'm expecting it to be about the same as it was last week, so let's give it a shot. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, it's still about the same carbonation wise as it was last week. We'll give it a couple more weeks and then we'll sample it again. Overall, it's still a really good beer, just a little undercarbonated for what I like. Okay, again, over the weekend I got some brew day footage in for you guys. I went ahead and I started brewing up what I'm going to give everyone for Christmas this year. As you know, wine needs to age, so I'm getting that thrown down and so we can get some age on it before we give it to everyone this year. So yeah, I did a test batch of it last year and it turned out so well. In fact, here's a bottle of it. Cinnamon wine that I brewed up last year. Turned out so well that I'm going ahead and doing a 5-gallon batch of that to give away for the holidays. So here's the footage from that. Okay guys, so today I'm going to do a cinnamon wine. This is what I'm going to make for my Christmas wine coming up. It needs to sit and age for a long time, so we're going to go ahead and start it now. It's only the end of February, but should be good in time for Christmas. So we're going to go ahead and make some cinnamon wine. We're using cinnamon sticks. And I have made a 1-gallon batch successfully out of these cinnamon sticks, and it turned out really well. So I'm going to go ahead and make this my Christmas wine. So I'm going to convert my 1-gallon recipe into a 5-gallon recipe. So we'll get started and I'll show you the process. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add 5 to 6 quarts of water into our pot here. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll get some water going here. And we'll add that into our pot. And once I get that all added in, I'll be right back. Okay, so I actually put 7 quarts of water in here. So just under 2 gallons of water. And I'm starting to heat that up now. And then to that, I'm going to add between 60 and 70 cinnamon sticks. It's my recipe calls for 12 cinnamon sticks per gallon. And we're going to do a 5-gallon batch. So that goes into at about 60, but we're going to do 60 to 70 cinnamon sticks. Okay, and then I just grab my scissors and cut the top off here, and we'll throw the cinnamon sticks in. Cut the top off and throw them in. And I'll just continue this until I get them all in there. Okay, and there's the cinnamon sticks in the water that's heating up. I ended up putting 63 cinnamon sticks in this batch. So we'll just cover that up with the lid. We're going to bring it up to about 190 degrees, just under a boil. And we're going to let it steep there for about 15 minutes. So once that's complete, I'll be back. Okay, so we've had that simmering for 15 minutes now. We'll go ahead and turn the stove off, and now we're just going to let it sit here and steep for 2 hours. So once that time is up, I will be back. So it's been 2 hours now with our cinnamon sticks steeping in here. So I'm going ahead and I'm sanitizing up a fermenter here, getting everything all sanitized and ready to go. Here's a look at the cinnamon tea we've got. It's pretty dark in color, and we'll go ahead and strain that off now. Okay, so I've got my bucket all sanitized, and I've got a fine strainer here, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour the cinnamon stick tea through the strainer into the bucket. So I'll go ahead and do that. We'll just take our pot and we will strain it on down through the strainer into our fermenter. Okay, and there's a look at the strainer catching the cinnamon sticks. As you can see, they've swollen up pretty good size there. We'll move that out of the way here and give you a shot of the cinnamon tea, if you will, down in the fermenter. So now we'll just let those drain and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so in my pan I've got 8 quarts of water, or 2 gallons of water, and over here I've pre-measured out 25 cups of sugar, which is roughly 10 pounds of sugar for a 5-gallon batch. So we're going to go ahead and incorporate the sugar into our water as it heats up and make a simple syrup. So we'll go ahead with that process. So while our simple syrup is cooling down, we're going to go ahead and add some ingredients to the must. So first of all, we're going to add 5 teaspoons of yeast nutrient. Okay. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of wine tannin. This will just help the wine get a little bit more body. And we're going to add 6 teaspoons of acid blend. Okay, once we get all the ingredients in, we'll go ahead and give it a good stir. And then once our sugar syrup cools down, we'll go ahead and add it in. Okay, and for the cinnamon wine, I'm going to use Red Star Montrachet yeast. So I'm going to go ahead and get a starter going. I've got some water here, and I'll just dump this in. Stir it up. We'll cover it and let it sit for about 20 minutes, half hour, while our sugar wash is in a cool bath to cool down, and then we'll put it all together. Okay, so I got my cinnamon sticks in my strainer above my must. I'm going to go ahead and add our simple syrup. I'm just going to pour it over the cinnamon sticks, just to get any more flavor that we can out of the cinnamon sticks. So we'll just strain this right through the cinnamon sticks. Okay, now we'll just let that strain for a little bit to get any flavors that we can out of it, and then we'll be back. Now we've got everything in there, we'll go ahead and give it a good stir. So we've got it all stirred up. We'll go ahead and take our gravity reading here, and I've already spun it. We're at 1.098. So, and my target was 1.095, so we're right about there. So we'll go ahead and leave her there. If you needed to at this point, you could add more sugar if you wanted it to be stronger. But we're going to be right at about 13% potential, so we will call that good. Now we'll go ahead and take the temperature on this guy. We want it to be somewhere around 90 degrees. before we pitch our yeast. And we're at 91, so we'll go ahead and pitch our yeast. Okay, so we've got our yeast starter here, and we'll just go ahead and dump it down in here and let her start to ferment. We'll just put a lid and an airlock on there, and we'll check back with it in a day or so. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the footage from the brew day this last weekend, and that's really about all I've got this week. I'll be watching for your guys' videos coming out over the next few days, and remember, there's always time for a glass of wine. Cheers.